Christian, I'd like to elaborate a little bit about the topic that you had on the pollution that's pouring into our community. Now, some of the people in town hall at the last meeting tried to shoot that idea down, disclaim it, call it a fake rumor, what have you. Listen, I gave them a disc of every email I ever sent to the town hall. I have a list of individuals from the Department of Environmental Conservation, the ECO officer. I have contacts like Tom Pasella at Monroe County Pure Waters. You can call those individuals and confirm this. Marty, in fact, at the town hall of Irondequoit can confirm that he knew that this was going on a regular basis off of Densmore Creek. Now, this came to my attention probably 2 years ago. A friend of mine was kayaking at the base of Irondequoit Bay, back into Irondequoit Creek with his girlfriend. As they went further back in the reeds, they noticed a huge wall of water coming down, and they went over to explore. Upon closer look at this wall of water, they started looking around in the reeds, and in there they saw feminine hygiene products, birth control, waste, just incredible. Well, of course, they paddled right out of there, and he told me about this about a week after he saw that. I didn't think much of it. I didn't understand what was going on. It just seemed very disgusting. I told him not to go back there. Well, when I decided to run for supervisor, I decided to heal any wound I could find in this town. And 2 weeks ago is when I started looking into this. It started out with a simple email to Marty asking him about the sewage and how many millions of gallons are pouring in. I was just fishing. I had no idea exactly where this was pouring out. I just knew it was going on. He gave me the name of Densmore Creek. Now, I took that name and I called Tom Pasella of Monroe County Pure Waters. And I asked Tom, I said, Tom, how many millions of gallons of raw sewage are coming out of Densmore Creek on a regular basis? And where's the permit to do so? Well, Tom told me that he first filtered the raw sewage and rainwater. This is only during, make no mistake, only during major rain events, which is probably 4 to 5 or 6 times a year or more on the Jenny River, actually. But let's just say 4 to 5, 6 times in the Irondequoit Bay region. Well, he told me it was filtered, chlorinated, and then sent out of Densmore. That's absurd. It would have to go down to Van Leer and then back up down Densmore. It's nonsense. Well, I told him, I had this email by Marty telling me it was actually raw sewage. He then paused and he agreed. I said to him, Tom, you just lied to me. He said, well, it goes on. We can't help it. It comes out when the storm water comes and this and that. I said, why didn't you tell the public? Why haven't you informed them? They could make an informed decision. They don't want to send their kids out there swimming around and recreating in raw sewage. Jet skiing, water skiing, sailing, canoeing, splashing each other. It's incredible to me. It's been going on for 30 years. Now, I want to share some pictures with you all. This is my son, Matthew, and my daughter, Isabel, aged now 5 and 3. The time this was taken, she was 2, and he was 4. We started going to Charlotte Beach regularly 2 years ago when my parents came up to visit. Many of you might know my parents. They were active in Christ the King Church in the folk group. Well, they took us to get strawberries out near Hilton, and they call Charlotte Beach the Strawberry Playground. They have a great playground in Charlotte. So we started going down there, and the kids like it. We play in the sand. They pretend they're pirates. So I take them there 2 times a week for the last 2 years. We go there early, about 5:30, 6, 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, and they're scraping all the stuff off the edge of the beach. We didn't really pay much attention. Oftentimes you'd see the feminine hygiene products washed up on the beach, and I used to think it was careless boaters. Now, this was colder, most of the time colder times of the year. I didn't think there'd be a bacteria problem. In actuality, there is no bacteria. It's raw sewage they're not telling you is what the problem is. Here they are playing, and look how wonderful and happy they look. Unfortunately, as they dig around in the sand and dance near the water and splash around, they're actually walking in our own refuse. It's incredible to me. This is a house right on Irondequoit Bay where Densmore Creek dumps out next to the beautiful little canoe club where all the kids take canoeing lessons and sailing and all this, and they splash around in the water. Well, they issue bacteria warnings, but they never actually tell you what the actual problem is. And I don't know about you, but I think I'm intelligent enough to know to keep my kids away from raw human sewage. If you go further down the line, you get to Tryon Park, and here's the permit that the DEC gave them. This permit specifically gives them the right to dump raw human waste into Irondequoit Bay. Make no mistake about it, this permit is real. This permit is new. It's only a few years old, as confirmed by Steve Orr, the Democrat and Chronicle. This line that you're looking at, the tube that is 16 feet in diameter, is mixed sewage. There's not two separate lines. There's not one for the toilet and one for the rainwater. It's all in one. Well, when they decide to dump it out of this massive cavern, they lift this big gate up. It's about 10 feet high by 20 feet wide and dumps millions of gallons of raw sewage at once. They generally try to do this at night in secret. From what I understand to the person who lived above this, they said the smell is the worst at night. And I think they do that either to save money at Van Leer or to do it so nobody knows about it. It's really unfortunate. I ask you to go to our website, robert4rondequoit.com. It's robert4rondequoit.com, and look further into this problem that we have. Again, we're back at Densmore Creek. These two massive tubes fill up when they dump that sewage, and it actually can't even make it through those massive tubes at once. It actually comes over the top. There's so much of it. The county is now trying to backtrack and say instead of four times a year, it only happens once every 3 years. Well, that's just not true. They're just too embarrassed to admit it. Another serious concern, environmental concern I have, has come to my attention by the Department of Environmental Conservation has informed me. I have his phone number, by the way. You're welcome to check on this. He told me below the walking bridge near Maplewood Park, between Maplewood Park and Seneca Park, they're dumping raw human waste during major storm events on a regular, very regular basis. This comes all the way down the river and works its way through the marinas and out onto Charlotte Beach and Duran Beach, where all the children are playing. Again, they've been calling this bacteria for 30 years. It's a complete lie. As you can see, these are major caverns, major, that come out of the mixed sewage system, mixed. There are not two separate system lines. And it says, danger, keep out. Storm sewer vent. It's not storm sewer, it's the sewer from your toilet. There's no simple way to candy coat this. It's in my opinion, it is a complete abdication of responsibility by the town supervisor and Maggie Brooks of Monroe County. Unacceptable. Unacceptable that I would bring my children to this beach for years and let them put their hands in that wet sand. I don't know, it sends shivers up my spine thinking what I did to those kids all the time. There's hepatitis A, intestinal diseases, all sorts of problems that occur when you start throwing human bacteria all over the place. As Supervisor of Irondequoit, I will stand up for our town. I will utilize the law department, our legal team, for something other than answering emails and passing cherry deals for out-of-town developers. I will ask Monroe County to create a holding tank, a holding system, so we don't have these major storm events. We can process that sewage correctly. In addition, I was informed by Steve Orr of the Democrat and Chronicle, investigative reporter. He was told by Van Leer, Monroe County, that there are 3 speeds to that sewage treatment plant, just so you're aware of this. 1, normal filtration. And then during storm events, there's 2 other speeds, a little and nothing. They basically open up the line and let it keep going. So you think it's going through there being processed, but in reality, it's just going out into our lake. And by the way, that's where we get our drinking water, if many of you weren't aware of that. We pull our drinking water from the lake. It's incredible to me. I'm talking about raw, unfiltered, straight from your house to the lake, and everything else that goes with it. Listen, I think we deserve better. I think our town has suffered enough with the stench of Van Leer. I will utilize a massive law team to sue the county or force them into covering any additional holding tanks or open vents to put a squelch on that scent. I will not accept smelling and being the toilet bowl for Monroe County. That's going to come to a screeching halt. I'm in business. A businessman and a businesswoman knows how to put an end to this nonsense. It takes strong leadership, someone with a backbone, and someone with no special interest. Someone with the interest of the town. I'm not going to call a scent hotline. I'm going to call my lawyer, and he's going to do some work. He's going to go to work for you. And we're going to start enjoying our town. We're going to start breathing clean air. We're going to start swimming in fresh water.